Hi friends, can you say hi to our friends? Alright, you ready to do a project today with me, James? Okay.
I have no idea. Which I feel like I know, but I also...
I know. James doesn't know what we're doing today. Guess what we're talking about today, James? We're talking about insects. Do you have a favorite insect? Do you like insects?
Honestly, I don't... honestly, I'd say dragonfly.
Okay, that's a good one. Dragonflies and butterflies are probably one of my favorites. So today, though, we're going to talk about ants. Because, believe it or not, ants are actually amazing creatures. Did you know that? Ants can hold way times more than their own weight. And they're kind of crazy what they can actually build and make. And so what we wanted to do was we wanted to build like a little ant farm so we can actually see them at work. Alright? Can you help me build this little ant farm? Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you a couple things about our ant farm here, friends. Ooh, I have my tape on there. Take our lid off. So our ant farm has holes in the top. The holes are very tiny, but I'm going to recommend, I'm probably going to use a piece of tape, that you actually cover up your holes with a piece of masking tape and then get a needle or a pin and poke them through. That way you will know for sure that they are tiny. Because, James, did you guys try to do an ant farm at your house?
Yeah.
And tell everybody what happened to it. What happened to the
The
ants?
ants just escaped.
The ants escape. So we don't want our ants to escape. But let me tell you something about this ant farm. This is just an ant farm we're going to do for maybe a few days up to a week. We don't want to keep the ants in here too long because we probably are not going to get the queen ant. And if you put ants in here for too long without their queen ant, they won't survive. And we just kind of want to see them at work, but we don't want to harm them. So what we're going to do is we have this in the middle here. You see this part? And that way we're going to put sand all around the edges. Okay? Okay. So we have to fill up this hole though, because if we dump this sand in here, what would happen to the sand?
Go into them.
It will go into the hole. Alright. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take some paper towels. Okay. And can you help me? Can you kind of roll that up into a ball for me? Just kind of like that. That's it. And what we're going to do is we're going to put these inside our hole to block the hole from getting sand in. Can you put your paper towel in there?
It's a little too big.
That's okay. We're going to squish it down just a little bit more. Okay.
It's too big to
All right. Okay. So James is going to help me fill our ant farm up with sand, and we're going to fill it up just around the toilet paper roll, and we're going to fill it up to about here. We don't want to fill it all the way to the top because we might be able to put some little bit of food in there and possibly a cotton ball with water so they have something to drink. So can you help me do that? So if I hold the jar, can you just help me get it right around the edges? All right, put the spoon back. Ready? All right, friends. So there we have our jar, almost filled, but not quite. We still have a little bit of space. So we've got our jar, we've got our lid. I still have to poke my holes in my masking tape, which I'll do in a little bit. But the next thing, the hard part, is finding the ants. So James and I had no luck finding ants because we realized it was way too hot out. So I'm going to show you something that I did, a little experiment, and it worked. Watch this. This morning before I left, I put out 4 cups. One had a lemon, one had spinach, somebody ate it. This one's got lots of fruit, and this one has sugar with soda. So, as you can see, the ants definitely liked the sugar. I thought there might be more in my fruit. And apparently someone else likes spinach, but not ants. And they didn't go for the lemon either. So now that I've got all these ants, I'm actually going to put some of them in the jar that I made with my friend James. All right, so let's see what happens next. All right, friends, so this jar here, I put in the cup that had all of the sugar water and the soda in it. And so there was quite a few ants in that one. So I don't know if you can see them in there. They're running around, and they've got food because they've got the sugar water. I dumped the whole thing in, and they've got some soda. So they should be good for a little while. And we're going to come and check on them tomorrow morning and see if they did any tunnels in their little ant farm. The holes on this one are actually pretty small, so I think we will not have any escapees. But remember, always do this outside in your garage or on your porch, just in case your ants can get out of the holes. So, in the second jar, I dumped the fruit cup because that also had some ants in it, and you might be able to see some of them escaped on me. But these are black ants. These are not going to hurt me. And I put them in this jar to kind of see. This jar has different dirt. I kind of want to see if it makes a difference. This jar had holes that I thought were a little on the bigger side, so I put some tape on it, and then I took my needle here and I poked the holes so that the ants can still get air, but hopefully they can't escape. Okay, so we are going to check back with our 2 ant farms in the morning, and we will see if they started to make any tunnels. Now remember a couple things. One, I don't know if you noticed, but when you're dumping the cup, wear some gloves, or have your grown-up wear some gloves, just in case the ants get on you. Again, these are not biting ants, but still, not everybody likes to have ants crawling on them. And you just want to be careful with insects. The other thing you want to keep in mind is these ants are not going to be staying in these jars for a real long time. We're going to watch them and observe them, but then we want to let them go because we don't want to hurt them, or we don't want them to die in our jars. We just kind of want to watch them. So they're ready to go. The one last thing you need to remember when you have an ant farm is it needs to be dark. Ants like to dig in tunnels under the ground where there's no light. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a box over my ant farms, and that way the ants will think it's nighttime, or they'll think it's deep dark down in the earth, and hopefully they will start digging. All right, I'll check back with you later and we'll see how it's going. All right, friends, I'm checking in. This has been 3 hours since we started our ant farm, and I don't want to leave the light on too long because I know the ants like the dark, but I just lifted up the box and they're already starting to make tunnels. You can see in this jar and in this jar. We're also starting to see some tunnels going on. It's a little harder to see with the darker dirt, but we are going to check back tomorrow and see how far these little guys have dug. So friends, I'm checking on our jars. It's been about 10 hours, 12 hours since we last checked on them last night. And look at, they've got a few more tunnels going. You can see that. And I took the lid off to check on them, and most of the ants are actually way on the top where we can't see them, where most of the sugar and the soda was dumped. So I did put a little piece of banana in there, old banana, which has got lots of sugar in it, so that should keep them busy for a little while. The other ants are also, I think, digging, but they are much harder to see. And I'm a little concerned that they may have actually escaped and that my holes were too big. So you may want to keep that in mind when you are putting the tape on. Make sure your holes are teeny tiny. So we're just going to keep an eye on these, and that is the end of our video though, but I will be back to show you some more next week to see how far we've gotten as far as our tunnels go. A couple other things in your kit for today is there's a bug finder. Now I prefer to look at bugs after they've died because you can't keep them in this. This is the shell of a locust. And remember I said the top of this is a magnifying glass, so it's really cool. You can see, get up close at all the details on this. And you can do that without touching it, which is kind of neat. I will probably also be looking for other bugs. I found a really cool beetle the other day I might put in here. Okay, so don't forget to use your bug finder. Remember, don't touch any bugs unless you are sure they are not going to sting you. Do it with a grown-up's help. Use a cup or another way to get your bug. but it's kind of neat when you find bugs that are no longer living and you can look at their details really close. And then this is a game. Take your arrows and help the spider go from eggs to a spider. And you have to know, well, what comes next? And when you're doing coding, coding is just a list of directions. Should we go up? Should we go down? Should we go left? Should we go right? So we're starting off going right. Now I want to get to the eggs. So do I want to have my arrow going right again? I might get stopped by a spider. Do I want to have him going left? Down? That would take him off the paper, right? Or up? And there's all different paths you can take, but this is a list of directions on how to get from the eggs to the egg sac to the spiderlings all the way down to the full-grown spider. So I'm going to just show you real quick how I'm going to do mine. Made it to the eggs. All right, eggs, now you got to find your way to the egg sac. Let's see how many different ways you can get the spider eggs to the full-grown spider using your arrows. Take these off and do it a different way. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed our videos this week and enjoyed our insect video. I'd love to see your projects and how you're doing. And I will see everyone next week for Time Work Week when we talk about dinosaurs. Bye, friends.